What is up, everybody? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, joined by Dallas Stewart. And now it is that time again. We are now officially 3 days away from the start of the 2022 NFL season with the kickoff game this Thursday. So that means
game picks
are officially back. And I appreciate everyone that comes in there, dropping their picks down in the comments down below, giving their thoughts on who wins what game and everything too. But going to be a lot different this year, especially for my fellow 12s this year, my fellow Seahawks fans. We know that this year is going to be rough for us, and it's going to be a rough season, especially with who all we got to face and the changes we made and got to get used to, life on the reset button. This year it's going to be about seeing which young guys that we drafted are standing out and who's going to be the bright spots and who's going to be good for the future going forward for the Seahawks. So that's one thing to be excited about this year. But, let's be real. There's going to be a lot of times where we're picking against us this year. Yeah. So we just want to get our game out the way first. Monday Night Football, the Denver Broncos. Yes, the schedule makers are trying to juice the ratings. They decided to put the Russell Wilson's first game as a Denver Bronco in Seattle against the Seahawks as the Broncos come into Seattle to take on the Seahawks. So, pretty much that. We think there's going to be a lot of boos that game, especially after the comment Wilson said about not having to carry the team alone. I mean, he didn't have to carry the team alone in the Super Bowl 48 years, so it's kind of a dirty comment to make. What did you think about it, Dallas?
Yeah, it was kind of a cheap shot.
Yeah,
this is going to be a tall task for the Seahawks, no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be at the game, obviously, still, too. I mean, if they do a tribute video, great, but I don't know if they'll do one after that comment Wilson made. So just saying, don't get me wrong. I'm still grateful for what he did, but, it's like if they do the tribute video, which I don't think they will, then great. But other than that, we all know this. Granted, I want to win this game badly, especially, too. It's like because we all know that we have Denver's first round pick. And there's a possibility if Denver finishes last in that division, granted, we know we'll probably most likely finish last in the division. Having 2 high first round picks will be the dream come true.
Yeah.
To get us off to a good start during our current rebuild. Granted, I like the start that we did getting the offensive linemen, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. But other than that, unfortunately, I got to pick Denver to come into Seattle and take care of their business against us too, as much as I would like to kick Russell Wilson's ass this week. Just saying, but I got to pick, but we're realistic.
I got to pick Denver too. Wilson gets his revenge.
Yeah, and then that would make him, and then if he beats us, then the only team he would have left to beat to make him the 5th quarterback to beat all 32 teams would be the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah. And I just hope they're competitive. I don't want to get embarrassed on national television.
Yep.
Just show an effort.
Especially on defense, especially on defense. Now that we'll have like Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams actually playing.
Don't get lit up by the Denver receivers.
Cortland Sutton, but is Jerry Jeudy still going to play, Grant? Because we know he got arrested earlier this year.
I believe he's still going to play.
Yeah.
Just don't get throttled.
If it happens, it happens. But it's like. It's one of the things we got to expect this year. And we're not trashing, but, this is pretty much life on the reset button. But, hey, true diehard Seahawks fans have made it through worse. And you and me, Dallas, we for sure have made it through worse. Could possibly be like 2008 when we were 4-12 way before they added the 9th game. And then 2009 when we were 5-11.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be somewhere in that 5-6 win range this year.
4-13, maybe 5-12. Who knows? It'll be, it is what it is this year. And this is the route that the Seahawks decided to take. And we just got to embrace it. But hey, look at the quarterback class coming out in 2023. And we're going to have to be scouting these quarterbacks out a lot during this college football season going on too, other than the NFL. All right, let's get on to the rest of it. Me and Dallas, we are going to go live for the kickoff game this Thursday. This should be a good one. We got Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills going into SoFi Stadium to take on the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams in SoFi Stadium for the kickoff game. Von Miller will probably receive his Super Bowl ring. Granted, now he's on the Buffalo Bills with that big 6-year deal he signed. But the real question is, will Von Miller play out that entire deal? I don't think so. I mean, he is older.
Yeah, he's been in the league a while now. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Rams, obviously, with their offseason, we basically made the release of Bobby Wagner. Now, Bobby Wagner went back home to LA, joining the Los Angeles Rams, adding to that defense. That would be a great replacement for the way they replaced Von Miller. They did that fast. They recently added Allen Robinson to their wide receiver core. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be back, especially after he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. And then, of course, you got the Super Bowl MVP, Cooper Kupp, from
Eastern Washington.
Yep. Arguably the greatest player to ever come out of that Eastern Washington program, and the only one that has scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl MVP, now we can say.
Yeah.
But something though, Buffalo, with the way they fell to Kansas City, they are gonna be poised this year for a big run. And I'm actually gonna go with a shot in the dark, and I'm gonna actually pick the Buffalo Bills to go into LA and spoil the Rams Super Bowl banner night. I'm going to actually go ahead and take the Buffalo Bills to win this game in LA. Now, just because we picked this game, when we pick the games, we never assume any of these that we're going to be right on any of these games. We never assume. We're just making our best picks for those that have known us for doing the game picks all these past few years since 2018 when I started doing this YouTube channel. But I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills here.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bills. Why not?
Yeah.
I think they're going to be highly motivated for this game. Should be a dandy.
Yeah, hopefully
it should live up to the hype.
I hope it's a thriller, much like last year's Buccaneers Cowboys kickoff game last year. That game was a hell of a game, and I'm glad we went live for that one.
Yeah,
especially when the Cowboys left Brady a minute and 24 left, and Brady just drove him into field goal range. Like we said, that's like an eternity for Brady. All right, up next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles going to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. Jalen Hurts now has a new weapon, A.J. Brown. The Titans, I give them a massive L for that trade. Why the hell would you trade A.J. Brown? I never, ever got that. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, and they added Aiden Hutchinson in the draft and got wide receiver Jameson Williams from Arkansas. Alabama, yeah. Shit, I always mix up a lot of these players when they come
Hawkinson still at tight end. Amon St. Brown at wide receiver.
Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's right. You were at that game. I took you to the last home game last year with Adam, and when we kicked the crap out of Detroit, but for some strange reason, Arizona cannot beat Detroit. Yeah. But we all know what happened last year. We decided to take a shot in the dark. We majorly whip on it. Not this time around. I got the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Give me Philly.
Yeah, give me Philadelphia as well. The Lions are still going to be really bad this year, I think.
I am anxious to see how Aiden Hutchinson looks.
I think the Eagles might challenge the Cowboys for the NFC East.
We'll see. All right, up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers going to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. Trey Lance now at the helm. At quarterback, they still restructured Jimmy Garoppolo. So if Trey Lance does look bad, they still got Jimmy Garoppolo just in case. Yep. So might have been a smart move by the 49ers to restructure Garoppolo just in case. And let's be real, Garoppolo did have the 49ers on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. If Jaworski Tart didn't drop that easy interception, then they very well might have.
And he did get him to the Super Bowl. So he's not some scrub.
No, he's not. Jimmy G ain't no scrub. Granted, it was just Aaron Donald that made the big play at the end, forcing Garoppolo to try to throw it away, but he ends up throwing that interception to send the Rams to the Super Bowl. And by the way, what's the similarity between us and the Los Angeles Rams with the last times that we've won the Super Bowl? Who do we both beat in the NFC Championship?
49ers.
Exactly. We beat the 49ers. But yep, Trey Lance taking on the Chicago Bears. Shout out to CG Ruthless Sports. My man CG, had to give him a shout out. Could not leave him hanging there with his team and him, Gridiron Yuki, Tommy Huxley, and John Jay from 49ers Ultimate Report. Shout out to you guys. I'm going to actually take the 49ers and go ahead and start out 1-0 against the Chicago Bears. I'm taking San Francisco.
Yeah, give me San Francisco to get a road win. Start off 1-0.
Against the Chicago Bears.
Chicago, them and Detroit are going to be battling for last place in the NFC North.
And who knows how Justin Fields will be coming in his sophomore year.
Yeah.
That'll be very interesting, too.
Well, Chicago has a new head coach.
Yeah, they do have a new head coach, Matt Eberflus, who they got from the Indianapolis Colts, the old defensive coordinator from Indianapolis.
So a new coaching staff there.
Yep. Whew, all right. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers going on to Cincinnati to take on the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to have to be heavily motivated, especially after the way he lost that Super Bowl, getting sacked 7 times. And just, man, if he had enough time, he could have possibly hit Jamar Chase for a game-winning touchdown because he was way ahead of Jalen Ramsey in that Super Bowl. But Pittsburgh Steelers, they just named Mitch Trubisky their captain. Kenny Pickett, he looked pretty good in the preseason, but, it doesn't really matter who's starting for Pittsburgh. I still think they're going to get killed. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bengals, the defending AFC champions, to start off 1-0. The Pittsburgh has a QB problem now with the retirement of Roethlisberger.
And kind of a controversy right now with Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. Granted, Kenny Pickett did look pretty good in the preseason. The only knock I had on Kenny Pickett is his hand size.
And I think the Steelers are now in rebuild mode for the next few years until they can find another franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt Steele Sermon. And he had to redo his YouTube channel. So shout out to Steel Sermon, Steel Maiden. When I did that, he said his fan base is going to be tested as well. Our fan base.
Steelers are in this kind of the same position we are. Looking for
they might win it. They might win
for a long-term quarterback eventually.
Who knows? The long-term quarterback could be Pickett, who they drafted out of their own backyard, but they got to put the pieces around him. They did get rid of Juju Smith-Schuster, sending him to Kansas City.
Yeah, but they still have Najee Harris in the backfield.
Najee Harris, yeah. They still got TJ Watt on their defense.
Their defense is still pretty. I think their defense will still be pretty good this year.
And TJ Watt was defending Defensive Player of the Year going into this season. He did win Defensive Player of the Year.
But they got a lot of question marks going into this year, the Steelers.
Yeah, they were, especially on the offense and the quarterback position.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins in Miami. It seems like New England always starts out the year a lot against Miami. Mac Jones took them to the playoffs last year. Granted, they did get swept by the Dolphins. The Dolphins made that trade with Kansas City for Tyreek Hill. It's going to be interesting to see what Tyreek Hill does with the Dolphins. And then should be interesting, but I'm not really seeing this is kind of a tough game to play because the Dolphins lately, it seems they've had the Patriots number, but we told our friend Ty Mahoney at our high school reunion recently that we think Mac Jones is going to be good for the future for the Patriots. I mean, but they're going to be behind Buffalo. Let's be real on that.
Yeah.
Buffalo's going to be on top of that division for a while. Granted, Buffalo technically is the ass of the AFC East. The only reason why I say that's because they have 0 Super Bowl rings, obviously. Any team, and granted, we know asses of the division, the ass of the NFC West, obviously the Arizona Cardinals, the ass of the NFC North, there's 2 of them, Minnesota and Detroit, and then there's 3 of them in the AFC South with the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Texans, because the Colts have won 2 in 2 different cities. And then the ass of the NFC East, granted, all 4 teams have a Super Bowl ring. At least 1 Super Bowl ring is the Philadelphia Eagles because they just have the 1. So there's that. Sorry, I just had to talk about that. But back to the topic. Patriots and Dolphins. Bill Belichick, his defenses, we'll see how well they can get after Tua Tagovailoa, and let's see how well Tua can utilize Tyreek Hill and the weapons that he has left on his team. And does Miami possibly still have the Patriots number? This is a first tough one, but Patriots were in the playoffs last year, but the Dolphins still swept them. Oh, man, pretty much taking a shot in the dark on this one. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to take the Dolphins on this one too. I'm going to take Miami to possibly get a win, but this one could really go either way. Who are you taking?
Give me Miami in that hot, humid heat down south. I think they're going to start off 1-0.
Yeah.
Should be a good game, though.
But,
could go either way.
Grant, I never sleep on old man Bill Belichick.
No.
I never sleep on Bill Belichick. And the Patriots do have a bright future with Mac Jones.
Yeah, they do.
All right. The headlines of this one. Cleveland Browns taking on the Carolina Panthers. Deshaun Watson suspended 11 games. But let's be real. He did it to himself. Yep. And I'm personally glad that the Seahawks did not piss away 3 first-round picks to get him. Yeah. And you know what the funny thing about that is after the suspension, guess who Deshaun Watson's Cleveland Browns debuts against? The Houston Texans.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
Fitting.
Baker Mayfield coming into Carolina, first game as a Carolina Panther, he gets to take on his former squad, the Cleveland Browns, and Baker Mayfield on that game. He said, "I'm gonna F them up."
Wow.
I think he backs it up. Give me the Panthers.
Yeah, give me Carolina. Baker Mayfield's just better than Jacoby Brissett.
Oh yeah, for real.
So I like Carolina to start off 1-0 for the second straight year.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Indianapolis Colts going to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. Indianapolis Colts, new quarterback at the helm, traded Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders. New quarterback, Matt Ryan, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. And Frank Reich, he's gotten some good years out of these quarterbacks that he's had in the last few years, except for Jacoby Brissett. I mean, look at what he got out of freaking Phillip Rivers in his last year in the NFL. He got a playoff year. Granted, they fell to the Buffalo Bills. And Frank Reich's a hell of an offensive coach. But, the Colts, they were just on the doorstep of making the playoffs. They just couldn't beat Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They just couldn't beat
Laid
Jacksonville.
that egg in week 18.
Yeah, and missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was just
didn't even show up for that game.
Yeah, that was another crazy ass upset last year, was the Colts laying that freaking egg in Jacksonville and missing the playoffs all entirely. Frank
That's
Reich,
got to be motivating them.
It's got to be a motivating factor. Has Frank Reich even gotten out of the wild card round as the Colts head coach yet?
Was it 2018? He beat the
that's
Texans?
Right. Yeah, he beat the Houston Texans. That's right.
And then lost to Kansas City.
Beat the Texans, lost to Kansas City, and then in the wild card round lost to the Buffalo Bills.
In 2020. And then in a game they probably should have won, but he made some bad coaching decisions in that game.
Yeah, and then freaking didn't even make it in week 8. Didn't even show up week 18.
We all know what happened to the Colts last year in week 1.
I mean,
they lost to the Seahawks actually.
We kicked the crap out of Carson Wentz last year in Russell Wilson's final year, and Tyler Lockett went off that game. He had 2 touchdowns that game, and then Metcalf had a touchdown that game. We kicked the Colts' ass last year in week 1, but I got the Colts kicking the crap out of the Texans. Give me the Colts. The Texans are still the Texans. Granted, they fleeced Cleveland in that Deshaun Watson trade with all those draft picks, but they got a long.
Give me the Colts big.
Texans got a long way to go.
Texans are gonna be. They're gonna have a top 5 pick again.
Yeah,
they are abysmal.
They'll probably have more wins they could possibly have more wins than us. Remember, they did upset the Chargers last year.
Chargers and the
Titans.
Yeah, they're 2 big upset wins last year.
All right, up next, you got an NFC South rivalry. We got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Is Desmond Ritter or Marcus Mariota starting for the Falcons? The one thing that I still favor though is the Saints defense. They still got Cam Jordan. They got a bunch of dogs on that defense.
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, Davenport, Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
And
they got a lot of good players on that defense.
Yeah, granted, I know DK Metcalf torched them on just that one play when we pretty much played like ass with Geno Smith last year. But anyway, this should be a good one though. I know didn't the Falcons and Saints split last year?
Did they? I think they did split.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Saints defense in this one though too. But Atlanta's gonna be a team to look out for. Let's see what their quarterbacks are looking like too. I think Ritter will probably be the starter this game. I didn't quite look at Atlanta's starting quarterbacks yet, but let me know in the comments down below.
I'm going to go with the Saints. I actually like the Saints to be a little bit of a sleeper team in the NFC this year.
Yeah.
At least getting a wild card.
Are they still starting Jameis Winston though?
Yeah, I think they are. You know what really hurt the Saints last year was all their quarterbacks getting injured. They probably definitely would have made the playoff. They were like 5-2,
and they beat,
and then Jameis Winston went down,
and they swept the Buccaneers. They swept Tom Brady. They
shut out the Buccaneers in Tampa.
Yeah, and with Taysom Hill, add him to the list of the worst quarterbacks to miraculously beat Tom Brady, along with Jameis Winston and Trevor Siemian in the same game.
They were just too injured at the quarterback position to make the playoffs. And a new head coach, Dennis Allen, takes over for Sean Payton after Sean Payton stepped down.
Yep. All right. Up next, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the New York Jets. There's possibly a chance Zach Wilson could possibly play, but let's be real. Doesn't even matter. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson's going to freaking run all over this team. The Jets are still going to be the same old Jets. I know they added CJ Uzomah from Cincinnati. I know they drafted Sauce Gardner, but really, Do you really think they're going to be able to compete with the freaking Ravens? I don't think so. I got the Ravens lock of the week.
I hate to say, I know it's week 1, but you're right. Lock of the week. Ravens huge over the Jets.
Yeah.
Ravens, they're gonna bounce back this year. They were riddled with injuries last year.
Yes.
That's why they finished the season on a 6-game losing streak. And John Harbaugh probably cost them 2 games last year late when they went for 2 against the Steelers and failed, and then they went for 2 against Green Bay and failed. Yeah. They're gonna bounce back this year.
Yeah. And Lamar Jackson needs to stay healthy. And plus, we know they did trade Mark Hollywood Brown to the Arizona Cardinals, but Marquise Hollywood Brown was injury prone.
The Jets are just so terrible still.
Yeah.
I know. I like some of the moves they made, but they got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And I don't think Zach Wilson's the future.
Yeah, I think he's injury prone. I mean, the best ability is availability. You know? I think it's pretty close to put the bus label on Zach Wilson.
I wonder how many years they'll give Robert Saleh. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, or Joe Douglas for that matter too, the general manager. All right, up next we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Washington Commanders. The Jacksonville Jaguars kind of made some moves. They drafted Trayvon Walker from Georgia, the pass rusher. They got Trevor Lawrence some weapons. They got Christian Kirk from the Arizona Cardinals. And then who else did they get? Didn't they get the Cardinals' former running back too? Chase Edmonds. Didn't they get?
I think they did.
Yeah, then the Jaguars get Chase Edmonds. Washington Commanders, new quarterback Carson Wentz, who they made the trade with the Indianapolis Colts.
New name too.
Yep, new name, the Washington Commanders now instead of the Washington Football Team and formerly the Washington Redskins. Ooh, Terry McLaurin, Washington. Jaguars, it'll be interesting. If Trevor Lawrence ever does become an elite quarterback in this league, and you know what the best part we as Seahawks fans can lean back and say, hey, we beat Trevor Lawrence with Geno Smith, right?
Yeah.
And the Jaguars, 3 wins last year, beat the Miami Dolphins for Trevor Lawrence's first win in London. Then they had the upset of the year last year against the Buffalo Bills, which was probably one of our best red zone reactions of last year, especially when my dad made that comment saying, and we literally kill with a backup quarterback, Jacksonville, and then Buffalo with their starting quarterback, best team in the league loses, one of the best teams in the league loses to Jacksonville. But as Chris Berman says,
that's why you play the game.
That's why they play the game. But in all honesty, I got Carson Wentz to the Commanders. Carson Wentz is going to want to get some serious revenge on Jacksonville after laying that egg with the Colts. I'm taking Washington to get their first win as the Commanders against Jacksonville.
I forgot to think about that. I got Washington starting off 1-0. I'm not making the same mistake I did with Jacksonville as I did last year in week 1 when I picked them against the Texans, and they got destroyed.
They got annihilated.
Granted, it was like a dumpster bowl in week 1.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know who to pick.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers traded Devontae Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders. They added Sammy Watkins to their wide receiver core, and they still got Leaping Lounge Lazard. Jaron Reed is now on their defense too. I was surprised that Kansas City didn't keep Jaron Reed, especially after Kansas City added Carlos Dunlap to their pass rush to complement Chris Jones and Frank Clark. But now Jaron Reed is now on the Packers pass rush along with Smith. This should be an interesting year. Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson. They still got that receiver core. Kirk Cousins back around for another year.
Adam Thielen, obviously. Dalvin Cook in the backfield.
Dalvin Cook, true.
New head coach Kevin O'Connell takes over for Mike Zimmer, who was let go.
Yeah. And man.
Vikings did beat them in Minnesota last year.
They did.
This is a tricky game right here.
Yeah. But it's like I still favor
Aaron Rodgers.
I favor Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins. I'm going to take, and then Green Bay drafted a really good receiver out of North Dakota State this year in the draft. Forgot what his name was. I don't know how he's looking though. And plus, let's be real, their worst draft pick in recent history is Jordan Love. Not really a bright future for when Aaron Rodgers retires for that one. I'm going to still go ahead. I'm going to take the Packers to beat the Vikings in week 1. Give me Green Bay.
Yeah, give me Green Bay to get revenge for losing to Minnesota last year in Minnesota, like middle of the year. I think they're going to want to sweep Minnesota this year.
True.
They've split Minnesota the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, up next, we got the New York Giants taking on the Tennessee Titans. The New York Giants, man. Daniel Jones is on the hot seat this year for them.
Yeah.
And they added that new coach from
Ryan Dable.
Yeah, from the Buffalo Bills.
The old OC.
Yeah, who knows what big of a difference that'll make for the Giants. Granted, the Giants did one of their losses. They did lose Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph did go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to play with Tom Brady.
Oh, wow.
Tyrod Taylor was in their quarterback list, but for probably most likely going to be the backup quarterback. Tennessee Titans, why the hell did you trade A.J. Brown? I know you still got Derrick Henry. I know you drafted Malik Willis from Liberty. So you kind of got a little bit.
You still have Corey Davis?
No,
he's on the Jets. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then they drafted that wide receiver. Then they drafted a wide receiver from Arkansas after trading A.J. Brown to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how that dude will be, but I still don't get that. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, this is an easy pick. Give me the Titans.
Yeah, give me the Titans to destroy the Giants. This is a pretty easy game for them week 1.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Although I think the Titans take a huge step back this year. I don't even think they make the playoffs this year.
And when will Malik Willis possibly take the reins from Ryan Tannehill, or will he ever take the reins from Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill, he's holding them. He's holding them back.
He choked in that playoff game against.
I know he had that 2019 AFC Championship run. But last year he was the reason they lost that divisional game.
And
3 critical interceptions.
And Derrick Henry needs to be able to stay healthy most of the season too.
Derrick Henry needs to stay healthy.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders going to SoFi Stadium a few days after the Rams and Bills kickoff game, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers really added to their defense. They got J.C. Jackson, the cornerback from the Patriots, to complement Derwin James in the secondary. And then you got Sebastian Joseph-Day switching locker rooms from the Rams to the Chargers in SoFi Stadium. Then you got freaking Khalil Mack. You got those guys, Khalil Mack and Sebastian Joseph-Day, to complement Joey Bosa on that pass rush. The Chargers really load. I give props to the Chargers for loading up on the pass rush. I got to give them props. Justin Herbert, he's going to be primed for a big year coming up this year too, especially after just barely missing the playoffs when the Raiders did them dirty in Vegas in the final game of the regular season on that Sunday night game. That was a hell of a game to watch, by the way.
That was one of the games of the year last year as well.
Yeah, but it's like, and then the Raiders, I got to give them props adding Devontae. We don't know how Devontae Adams is going to be reunited with his old college quarterback, Derek Carr. That should be interesting to watch. Devontae Adams, now a Las Vegas Raider, bought that house in Vegas, and now he's on the Raiders, so he's going to be spending a lot of time in that house. And then you got freaking Chandler Jones going to the better desert in Vegas, leaving the other desert in Arizona to complement Max Crosby on their pass rush.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson's going to have his work cut out for him in Denver this year.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the defenses he has to play and some of the familiar opponents he has to face now. But this game, I'm going to actually go ahead. I'm going to take the Chargers to win in SoFi. Give me Los Angeles Chargers in this game. It's a tough one. This game should be good, though.
This should be a really great game.
I'm gonna take the Chargers though. I just like the Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and three-headed.
Khalil Mack could get his revenge on the Raiders.
Yeah. And then
you know what? I guess give me the Chargers. It could go either way. This easily could have. I almost really wanted to go with
Las Vegas.
With Las Vegas, and I thought we were gonna have maybe our first split of the year, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers to get a home win.
Yeah,
and get revenge for Week 18 last year.
Yeah, especially but I give props to the Chargers for what they did.
I think the Raiders though, they're primed for maybe a deep playoff run this year.
And I'm anxious to see Devontae Adams in their offense. See how good that complements Derek Carr. I mean, shout out to my buddy Daniel Van Meter. I know he was really hyped. I was the first one to tell him about Devontae Adams getting traded.
2 teams right there. These 2 teams could be 2 of the 3 wild card teams in the AFC this year.
All right, up next, going across the desert to the other desert in Arizona, you got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs going into Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals, who absolutely had no life after we basically sucked the life out of them in Week 18, spoiling them and stopping them from winning the division and putting Arizona Animal back in his mama's closet crying like the little bitch that he is. We basically let's be real, Detroit didn't break them. We broke them last year in Russell Wilson's last game as our quarterback. We broke the Cardinals last year in Week 18. No disrespect to the AZ sports fan, though. I mean, he's cool, but, it's like Arizona. And then they lost Chandler Jones over to Las Vegas, They took some big hits. I know they added Hollywood Brown, but the question is, how long does he stay healthy? J.J. Watt, though, on the defense, he's getting older, but he can't stay healthy, and he's pretty much playing on what little strength he has left in his NFL career.
Yeah.
Classy dude, but let's be real. Watt's career is almost coming to a close.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kansas City Chiefs, they're got to be really pissed, especially the way they choked that AFC Championship game to the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to be thrived for a big run this year in the AFC West. And I still think the Chiefs are still the top dog of the AFC West, regardless of the way that they lost it. You know what I mean? And Patrick Mahomes, he's been in 4 straight AFC Championship games. There's nothing overrated about that. And let's be real, Russell Wilson is not worth that Mahomes money either, too. You know? I think Denver made a big mistake paying him all that money, too, and it will come back to bite him when star players on the O-line start to leave Denver. But, you know, Kansas City, you got Mahomes, you still got Travis Kelce. I know they lost Tyreek Hill, but you still got freaking
Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster to their receiving core.
Right, and then they still have freaking what's the other receiver name? Number 17 for Kansas City.
Was it DeMarcus Robinson?
No, not DeMarcus Robinson. I can't think of his name right now. It's freaking.
They did lose Byron Pringle to Chicago,
and then they did also add. They drafted Trent McDuffie, the cornerback from Washington, to their defense. I'm trying to think who the other receiver was for Kansas City, who they drafted the same year that the Seahawks drafted DK Metcalf. Let me see. Kansas City Chiefs receivers. Let me see. Give me a second. Mecole Hardman.
Oh yeah, he's
Mecole Hardman's going to be the
Mecole Hardman.
He's going to be Mahomes' number 1 receiver this year, and plus they still got Kelce. But you know, let's be real though. Kyler Murray is probably the most, and he just got that big deal too. But let's be real, Murray's overrated. He's just overrated. He is not going to take Arizona to the promised land. And as a matter of fact, I got a bold prediction for the Super Bowl. The last couple of years, the Super Bowl has had a team playing in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. That ends this year. There's no way in hell the Cardinals are making the Super Bowl. And I will put money down that the Arizona Cardinals will not win the Super Bowl. They're not winning the Super Bowl, let alone playing in it. I will probably put $50 down on the fact on Arizona not being in the Super Bowl or not winning the Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes is 100 times better than Kyler Murray. I'm taking Kansas City to whoop Arizona's ass week 1 in Arizona. Give me Kansas City.
Yeah, give me Kansas City. There's too many question marks with Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, their defense is going to get shredded this year. I mean, look at what Rashad Penny did to them last year in week 18. Look what Penny did to them.
They need to prove something this year. They cannot. I mean,
possible.
Are you gonna have your third? If you have another season where you have a third straight second half collapse. I mean, you lost 5 out of your last 6 and 7 out of your last 11. You had an epic second half collapse.
Now I see you rubbing salt in their wounds.
Well, they did.
Yeah, they did. But and then also, can you also point out the Pottsville curse? That owns them. That curse has been owning them since 1925.
You guys have to prove something this year.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury's on the hot seat this year.
I know they gave him that big deal. You guys have to go on a deep playoff run, or I think he's gone.
All right. And what do you know? Coming up next, week 1 again, just like last year, except it's not the kickoff game. It's the first Sunday night game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but this time the setting is Jerry World, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Brady, after the way they lost, almost valiant comeback, but they just couldn't hold off Cooper Kupp at the end of that playoff game against the Los Angeles Rams, which they unfortunately lost. If Tom Brady gets past the Rams in that, I think we could have possibly seen them in the Super Bowl. Hell, if Green Bay would have gotten past the 49ers in the divisional round in Lambeau, we could have possibly seen Green Bay in there instead of the Rams, because we know Aaron Rodgers owns Matthew Stafford, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on Dakota Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Micah Parsons had a big year on their defense last year too, and I gotta give props. Micah Parsons was a beast for Dallas's defense.
Yeah, it was.
But Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and they had a bunch of injuries, and then of course the whole Antonio Brown fiasco, which pretty much also costed them. And then they had a Kyle Rudolph to replace Rob Gronkowski, who now is retired. So But this is gonna be a good game, man, especially for Sunday Night Football. I'm gonna go ahead though, and I'm always gonna favor Cowboys. They still got freaking Diggs. Diggs is still good for them. He's been a great cornerback. He had a hell of a year last year for Dallas.
Yeah.
And I heard they added another really good quarterback recently. Cornerback. Yeah, for them. But I favor Tom Brady all the time.
Yeah.
Give me Tampa Bay.
I can't pick against Brady, or it's hard to.
Granted, he's 40. He's going to be 45 years old.
Yeah, we'll see if he regresses a little bit this year.
But I'm glad Brady signed that deal with Fox. Hopefully he's a good football commentator when his career is all said and done. And anyway, those are our picks for week 1. We got, obviously, unfortunately, we got the Broncos over us at home, which I will be at that game on Monday Night Football. You got the Bills over the Rams, the Eagles over the Lions, Niners over Bears, Bengals over Steelers, Dolphins over Patriots, Panthers over Browns, Colts over Texans, Saints over Falcons, Ravens over Jets, Commanders over the Jaguars, Packers over the Vikings, Titans over the Giants, Chargers over the Raiders, Chiefs over the Cardinals, and Buccaneers over the Cowboys. Week 1 is the hardest week to pick. Hey, you know what the cool part about week 1 is this year? We get a Red Zone reactions. So we will be back here this coming Sunday for Red Zone reactions. Hell, we'll be back here in 3 days because we're also going to go live for the kickoff game between the Bills and the Rams. So we will catch you guys on Thursday night for that kickoff game. And drop your picks down in the comments down below. And you know what else to do if you're new. Let's keep the train rolling. And we will catch y'all later. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks.